Hello Yu-Gi-Oh players and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Business Casual. I am your host, the RJB0. Today I'm going to have a shorter show than usual. I'm only going to have 2 segments as opposed to my usual 3. I don't really have a whole lot of time tonight, but the segments that I have for you guys are going to be awesome. So first I'm going to start off by talking about misplays, specifically a certain kind of misplay at a very important time and how to not make it. And then I'm going to move on to a word from the rapper that nobody in their right mind would put on a record label. That is right, it is a hip-hop opening of this Legendary Collection 3. You see it in front of you. For anybody who hasn't seen the first one, link in the description. Let's just say it's going to be an experience. So everybody and their mother has had a problem with misplaying. Anybody who has so much as gotten through the 3rd turn of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game has had issues with misplaying and continues to have issues with misplaying to this day. And unfortunately, there isn't really a surefire cure for misplays or some kind of training regimen that makes your brain run perfectly smoothly during your games. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Being a game that is generally won by experience, you can kind of beat the misplays out of your brain through practice by getting experience with your own deck and learning to feel the flow of the cards and combos and getting experience against other sorts of decks so you know how to play smartly against them is crucial. However, there are those situations that you cannot rehearse, you cannot practice for, you cannot be prepared for. These are those situations in which you have to make a well-calculated, well-thought-out, and generally very difficult play and a crucial moment in order to get yourself out of a very tight situation back onto the road to victory. And these are those situations where misplaying would be catastrophic. And I have actually found a way, for myself at least, to somewhat reliably get myself through these plays without making a huge mistake. And it comes in the form of 5 big questions. The first is, what is your goal with this play? What do you need to accomplish? Are you trying to push for game? Are you just scrabbling to get card advantage? Do you need to clear some cards off the field or establish some field presence? Next, what cards do you have in your arsenal somewhere in your deck, in your extra deck, that will help you to accomplish this goal or will accomplish this goal for you? And then, of course, the follow-up question to that is, what cards help you to access those cards? Do you have searchers? Do you have cards that allow you to go for that black rose that can blow up the field? Do you have an OTK combo and cards that allow you to go into that can help you go for game? The next, and probably the most important question, the 3rd question, is, what can your opponent do to stop that play or disrupt it? This is the most important question, and this is the one where people often get just completely hung up. Does your opponent have some back row? Is there a high likelihood that they will have some sort of hand trap to stop your play? Or a Gores that can stop you from OTKing and actually allow them to push back against you? These are things you really need to keep in mind. And then, of course, possibly equally importantly, is the 4th question, which is, how can you get around those things? How can you respond to those plays, those hand traps, if your opponent uses them, in order to continue making that play? Or how can you get rid of that pesky back row that's getting in your way, or that monster that has an effect that's stopping you from making your big play? Then, the last question you have to ask before you play a single card is, once you've made this play, how are you going to follow up? How are you going to protect yourself? Or, unless, of course, you've gone for your OTK, or if your opponent does manage to stop the play, what are you going to do and how are you going to respond to that? So, these sound a little, confusing and abstract. So here's a real-life situation in which these questions were very important, real-life examples. So, to give you an example, a couple of years ago, back when I was playing X-Sabers with the Hobo League, I was playing at a locals with my extremely cheap-ass X-Sabers against a Kid's Dragoonity deck. And we had gone into Sudden Death, which, for those of you who don't know, is when you've gone through your end-of-match procedures and neither player has depleted the other player's life points or raised their own. And that means that the way that you win at that point is by ending your turn with more life points than your opponents. At this point, I had a face down Call of the Haunted that I had set last turn with a giant rat in my graveyard and an effect veiler in my hand. My opponent had no cards except for a set Scrap Iron Scarecrow. I knew it was there because I had tried to attack into it earlier. So what I did at the time was I weighed my options. I decided the best thing to do was to sit on my Veiler and my Call of the Haunted and wait for my opponent. Because he had 2 Duxes in his graveyard and hadn't used any of his Legionnaires, I decided that it was more likely that he drew into Legionnaire than Dux, and I could stop the Legionnaire by Veilering it, and when he attacked, I could activate that Call of the Haunted and summon the rat, and everything would be okay until next turn when I would make my big play. The problem with that was, of course, the fact that he drew his Dux and attacked for game, and I couldn't stop him. But was there a way that I could have won that game? Well, if I had gone back and looked at these 5 questions, I would have found that yes, there was. So first, what was my goal? I had to end my turn with more life points than my opponent. What cards did I have that could accomplish that? Well, I had that giant rat in my graveyard and Call of the Haunted that could bring it and back and attack for game. What can my opponent do to stop it? Here's the doozy. He had that Scrap Iron Scarecrow. I couldn't get around it because Veiler has 0 attack points, so that wasn't going to be helpful to me, and I couldn't synchro for a single monster and attack for game, so I was pretty much stuck. But this is the point that a lot of people get hung up on, which is it's often very important once you get into these dead ends to reassess your options. So let's go back and look at the 5 questions again. Now that I know that my opponent can stop any attacks, my goal, being to end my turn with more life points than my opponent, had to be accomplished without attacking, which means either I had to use a burn card or a card that could raise my own life points. Did I have any of those at my disposal? Yes. I had a magical android in my extra deck. Well, could I summon that magical android? Yes, I could. I had that Call of the Haunted face down with the giant rat in my graveyard and a level 1 tuner in my hand. If I had thought this through, I would have synchroed for that magical android and ended my turn and won the game. So, at that point, it was highly crucial that I went through those 5 steps. I didn't, I lost the game. So, to recap, those questions are: what is your goal? What cards do you have that can accomplish that goal, and how can you access those cards? What can your opponent do to stop you from accomplishing that goal? What can you do to get around those cards? And then what will you do if your opponent stops it, or how will you follow up to your play? And I hope those are really helpful to you guys. I know that they have been helpful to me. And now, for a wrap that is so bad that it makes the opening that comes after it look like simply unlucky. Bear with me for a second. Upbraid the rain and the walking pains, the cold nagging at my brain. Some people would call me insane, but I just call it love. So go ahead, open your eyes and see this legendary collection 3. Hoping to pull a BLS or compulsory or secret rare MST, holographic fantastic intensity, but I've got a greater propensity for battle searching in high rarity, 100 card set disparity, and I can't believe that I just bet 30 on this set. It is kind of making me feel dirty with regret, so I hope it makes it worth it for you guys to see, even if this turns out to be the worst LC ever seen, that you guys would still subscribe to me. Let's bust open this baby. Alright, I'm going to try something new with this opening. Something unprecedented. We're going to turn the camera around. So first I have to break this darn Konami seal. There's an extra coupon. Ah! This always happens to me. One of these days you'd think I'd just grab a knife or something. But I don't. Because I'm not very smart at these things. Really? Is this really going to be that much of an issue? There's a fork at the end of this table. I'm tempted to use it. Ha! Victory is mine. Ah! There it is. The beauty of the legendary Collection 3 Yu-Gi-Oh's World. We have our promo pack, which I will get to in a second, and then our 5 mega packs. And then this thing, and of course, the awesome game board, which I actually consider more important than the promo pack, with the badass Seal of Orichalcos thing in the back. I'm sure you guys have already seen these things, but I don't know, I love showing them off. So let's get that promo pack. I'll just go through it quickly. You guys have seen a million of these, especially those of you who have seen Simply Unlucky's videos. We've got that Dark Necrofear, the Guardian Iatos, which looks great in an Ultra 5-headed dragon, a token, and a token. Sweet stuff. I've probably not been showing that properly. Alright, let's move on to the Mega Packs. Mega Pack number 1. One of these days I'm gonna learn how to open packs correctly. Dark General Freed, Giant Soldier of Stone, Toon Gemini Elf, and Ultra Gravekeeper's Commandant, not bad. Secret Kaiku, the Ghost Destroyer, and a Super Chaos Sorcerer. Ooh, Horus the Black Flame Dragon, level 8, Spellbinding Circle, and Diffusion. Not bad for my first pack. Let's move on to my second pack. We open up with Horus's Servant. We have a Dark Sage. Chain Disappearance, very good card right there. Toon Gemini Elf again, that's going to be a thing. Ultra Heavy Storm, nice. Oh! 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 I got it! Oh! Holy Nix, I just made my money back off of this opening. Oh dear Jesus. Oh my god, it's the BLS, and then Super Sakuretsu Armor. Oh, look at that. Ain't it beauteous? Wicked Breaking Flamber's Bow, Puppet Master, Horus's Servant. Woo! Oh man, I am stoked that I still have 3 Mega Packs to go. I am sorry for knocking my camera like I just did. I am super excited. I never make my money back off of anything. So let's move on to the obnoxious Celtic Guardian. Collected Power, Rare Ectoplasmer, Ultra Necro Valley, sweet, and a Secret Imperial Order, and then a Super Solar Flare Dragon, Charm of Shabti, Makiyu, the Magical Mist, and the Dark Hex Sealed Fusion. Alright, Mega Pack number 3. We start, or 4, I don't know what one this is. I'm not even counting anymore. That one card made up for this entire thing. Spell Shattering Arrow, Giant Germ, Mystic Swordsman, level 2, Monster Reincarnation, Ultra Royal Decree, nice, Secret Horn of Heaven, not bad, and then a Super Fusion Gate, Spellbinding Circle, Armored Samurai, Benkei. Alright, now for the final Mega Pack of this, I don't even know what to call this, Legendary Collection 3 opening. I really should wrap more often. It seems to have magical powers. Alright, non-spellcasting area. Goddess of Whim, DD Warrior, another Ultra Heavy Storm, not bad, and a Secret Flying Kamakuri number 1, and a Super Creature Swap, which is actually something I needed, and Level Up, and Armed Dragon level 3, and Goblin Fan. Alright, so amazing pulls. I don't know if you guys need me to recap that, but that was pretty badass. And this is the RJB0 signing out. After I let you guys know that my next show will have a cool deck review, and I will be running over the synchros from Judgment of the Light. And wow, this show went a lot longer than I expected. See you guys later.